Hello. I was not planning on doing this, but I figured why not? So I just started reading Rebel's Blade by Frost K. This is an indie published book, and I'm trying to make, a stronger effort to read indie published books this year. So I just started. I'm like literally 20 pages in, and the story is good so far. I mean, we're 20 pages in. The story is good, and I'm like interested and I want to continue reading, but the writing I feel like isn't the best. Like, I'm just confused a lot. Again, we're only 20 pages in, so that's probably gonna change, or I'll probably get used to the way she's writing. And she keeps messing up tenses and like throws me out of the story. It only happens for like a few seconds, but it'll throw me out of the story, and I'm like, wait, what? And then I go back and have to reread it, and I'm like, I don't think that's what she meant, which makes sense because it's indie published, so it's gonna be a lot harder to get every single mistake, but it is throwing me out. But yeah, so far I think the story is good, and I think I'm gonna enjoy the story, hopefully. But the writing, not amazing. I hope I change my mind on that, but we'll see. I'm like shaking in disgust. It's literally, he's like, so Tell is out to find like the rebellion or whatever, and he's in an alleyway with the rats, and there's a rat on his fucking shoulder. Oh my god. I've had mice in this apartment a couple of times, and that terrified the shit out of me. Can't even imagine being around a rat. I've seen rats around campus. Oh my god. On his it's like right there. Oh my god. I can't. And it's not even done yet. The rat is still there. And he's scared too, which is the best part. I think it's really funny that she made him scared. But he obviously not that scared because he keeping it together. He said, don't get comfy. Are you fucking kidding me? I would have shit my pants. Oh my god. I'm gonna need you to excuse. His mind went blank when a tiny nose nuzzled his neck. Oh my god. Oh my god, that means the rat is right there. Oh my, it touched him. It touched him. Oh my god. Needle-like claws scratched along his neck as the whiskers tickled his ear. Are you kidding me? I'm having an anxiety attack for him. This man is staying still. I would have outed myself immediately. I would have been like, I'd rather you know I'm here than have this shit touch me. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, we need to get past this. I just need him to get this rat off of his shoulder. Just like, punch that shit. It already touched you. Might as well just touch it. Just punch that shit off. Okay? Because, okay. We're good. Let's keep going. This is gonna be a long video if I have to keep stopping. But another, just the way it's written, kind of complaint. They're talking, and she said, you don't want to hurt me, you did this, and also you did this. You did this, and also this. No one speaks like that. If I was gonna accuse someone of something, I wouldn't be like, you took my eraser, you took my pencil, and also you took my pen. Like, no one speaks like that. I just feel like when she was writing this, she didn't sit back and like close her eyes and think about how the situation would go on, because like even in a fantasy world, a lot of times in like fantasy world, they speak a little differently because they speak more like how they did like back in the day. They didn't speak like this back in the day either, so I'm just saying, no one speaks like that. It just sounds weird. He said, well, she didn't kill them, if that's what you're wondering. She rendered them unconscious and then stole their clothes. She just stole their clothes. I mean, makes sense. She needs to stay warm while she's, held captive. But that was funny. There's like a lot of things in here that I'm not even sure are put in as the humor part, but those are the things I'm laughing at. Like, I don't know what the humor things are, but it is funny. Like stuff like that I don't know if those are that like remark was supposed to be funny, but to me it was funny. But yeah, I like Sage. I'm a fan. Would just like to note, considering Sage is on the cover of the book, we're getting surprisingly little of Sage. Most of this book so far, I'm 106 pages in. Most of it has been from Tel's perspective, which is fine. I'm liking the story, like, overall. But considering she's on the cover, we're not getting very much of her. So I don't read, like, high fantasy, so I'm sure this is done in a lot of high fantasy books. But this is actually done pretty well. The 4 men coming after, first of all, we're back to the prologue, and I've been like wondering this entire time because to me a prologue is like something that happens before the story, but nah, that prologue is like in the middle of the story. So I've been wondering what the hell that meant. We're coming to that, we're at the scene, but like we're not as far as the prologue is yet. Oh my god, like I want to kill these 4 men. I want to kill them, bro. And let me tell you, I'm sure Sage is gonna kill them, but let me tell you the fury that Tel and Sam and Gav are gonna feel when they find out about this. Oh, but I'm sure Sage is gonna kill them because she's a badass bitch. I'm 134 pages in, and for a book that's a fantasy romance, there's no romance. There's been one scene where the 2 main characters, Tel and Sage, were together, and that was when, like, they fought at the beginning, which is how, like, she gets held captive and stuff. But she's had more scenes with Gav, maybe even Sam. Like, she's had more scenes with pretty much everybody else. And wait, who's next? Is she next? Okay, it's still Tel. Tel has so many scenes in this book, which again, I like him, but still. The next 2 chapters, I just read a Tel chapter. Next 2 are still Tel. Then it's Sage. But anyway, she is likely getting another scene with Gav. I don't know if they're actually gonna write it, or if they're just gonna reference to it, because Gav saved her from the 4 men, I believe. Which one annoys me a little bit, because I was like, nah, she's gonna kick their asses. But also, it's understandable. But I'm sorry, I don't understand. How is this a fantasy romance? The only scene they had together was their fight, and then they thought about each other barely right after it, and that was it. I'm like a third of the way through this. Okay. Anyway, let's continue. I keep forgetting to pick up the camera, so I talk to myself and then I just repeat it to the camera. Basically I was just saying I'm 148 pages in, and I don't really like Tel as a significant other. Not the biggest fan. I like Gab. I like Sam. I don't like Tel. I think, and I really hope that will change. And I think it will, which is why I want to say this to the camera, because I want to have evidence of the fact that I mean, I like him, but also I don't like him. Like, I like him, but I don't like him as a significant, like, as the lover of the story. I like Sage, but I don't like him right now. Like, she's literally saying, stop touching me. And he's like, no, she needs this. Like, okay, she's crying and you think you're hugging her is gonna make it stop? Like, no, she said, stop touching me. Oh my god. Are all the men in this book trash? Like, what the hell's going on? I'm ready to freaking cry. All of the men in this fucking book have no boundaries. Oh my god. How did a woman write this book? I honestly don't, like, I'm tearing up right now. It's not even funny. And I'm liking the story, which is the worst part. This is for sure not getting a 5 stars. It literally can't. Because these men are literal garbage. Like, I still have hope, and you know, obviously I'm gonna root for Tell and Sage to get together, because like I think it's because I'm going into the story knowing they're gonna get together, like because it's a story for their romance, even though there literally has been no romance, and she's literally had more scenes with everyone but him. But the men in this story are utter garbage. No boundaries, bro. None of them. I'm now 180 pages in, and it's only been a little bit since my last little spew, but I'm getting really annoyed, like really annoyed with the fact that this romance hasn't even started yet. How many pages do 330? That means I'm over halfway. And the romance hasn't even, the two have had like 2 scenes together. You can call it 3, although she was unconscious. You could call it 3 scenes together. The romance hasn't started. I'm getting more romance. Like, if I didn't know Tell was going to be the love interest, I would have assumed it was going to be Sam. Like, 100%, I feel like it would be Sam. It's just, she's doing such a poor job at the romance part of this. Like, it literally, there's no romance yet, and it's so annoying. Like, the only romance parts we've gotten is a couple of times Tell has hinted at the fact that she's distracting to him, or he gets like a different type of way when she's around, so he like puts the responsibility of being around her to Sam and Gav. But boy, where is the romance in that? Oh my god, it's getting like really, really frustrating. Like, I need this to pick up, because it was going well, and then the annoying men dropped it down to like a 4-star. And the fact that we're like 60% of the way through the book, and the 2 love interests have had all of 2.5 scenes together, no romance has started, it's dropping to a 3. Oh my god. Come on. I mean, there's still 150 pages left, so there's still plenty of time to get a romance brewing, but with the way this story is going, I don't know. I'm hoping they'll have at least one scene together in those 150 pages. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, literally every other character has had more scenes with this woman, but the love interest. It's like that. I can't. I'm sorry. This is the most repetitive thing I've ever had to do. But are you fucking kidding me? I'm 198 pages in. So 200 pages in the book. It's about 60% of the book. I feel like it's more, but whatever. Yeah. She just had a scene with the dad. And it hinted to, like, they're gonna have more scenes together. If these motherfuckers have more scenes together than Tell and Sage, I'm gonna fucking lose my mind. Where is the... Oh my god. Where is the romance in this? I think my biggest problem is that it was marketed as a fantasy romance. So, I was real excited. I was like, ooh, fantasy romance, and it's like the rebellion types. It was like enemies to lovers. I was like all here for it. And I was even all here for it at the beginning when they fought. Because I was like, oh, this is real enemies to lovers. No, motherfucker, they've had 2 scenes together. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god. Oh my god. And it's like, it's infuriating me so much. But I have to keep reading, because I'm like, come on, one scene. I need you guys to flirt at least. Like, these beautiful covers are such a waste, because this book is garbage, and it has so much potential. I think that's the part that like irks me the most, has so much potential because the story is a little slow, but I like it's interesting and I do like it. And if the way some of the men acted, not all of the men, like okay, the young men act like all the older men are like cool, like Jacob, Jeffrey, and the king, all cool. The younger men, garbage. And the fact that there's no romance when it was marketed as a fucking romance. I can't. I literally cannot do this. But I have to know. I'm just like, I keep reading, hoping that there will be a scene with the two of them in it. And there just isn't. And if there's one more fucking talk about the Midsummer Festival, I literally don't care. This is at a 3 stars right now. There's 130 pages left. We'll see if that shit drops. Now, I'm literally serious. It's a romance with Gav. Now I'm starting to doubt myself, like, was this not a romance with Tell and what's her name, Sage? Is it just the two sides? Because let me tell you, they've had 2 scenes together, right? Tell has thought about her a couple of times, so you could kind of see where it would come from Tell's perspective. Sage has not thought about this man once. Not once. But Gav, she feels safe. She wants to keep him. She's over here calling him beautiful, devastatingly handsome. And he's like caressing her. And I'm just like, Gav is one out of the younger guys. Because the 3 older men, good guys. Out of all the rest of the guys, Gav is the only decent one, I feel like. I mean, like, there are times, obviously, with the other ones, too. But, like, the best one, the one that doesn't literally drive me fucking insane, is Gav. So, if I was rooting for Sage to be with someone, 100% would be Gabrielle. I don't think that's the case, though. But I don't, at this point, I'm, like, doubting whether I'm right. I mean, in any case, we're 60% through the book, and still no romance has come up, but had I to guess, like if I hadn't read any names or anything on the back of the book, that's a lie because we get Tell and Sage's perspectives only, so I would have just assumed it was the 2 of them, which is what I'm doing. I'm assuming it's a romance between 2 of them. But coming into this completely clearly, not even looking at perspectives, 100% I would think Gav was the love interest. And now I'm starting to doubt myself. I'm like, maybe he is the love interest. Even though, like, I know he's not. But, like, maybe he is. Maybe I'm just being wrong. We'll find out. Because I'm still waiting on a scene with Tell. She's been there for 2, possibly 3 weeks at this point. You know, from moment of capture to, like, this moment. Because, like, she... in this one page, she just said, and that's how a routine started. So I'm assuming more time passed. So at least it's been 2 weeks, possibly 3 weeks at this point. And they've had literally 2 scenes together and possibly been like together in like 3 or 4 scenes. Because like there have been a couple times when Tell stayed like with her while she was sleeping and stuff. But other than like the couple of times he literally thought about her, nothing has been hinted for them either. Like I'm telling you, she doesn't even think about this man. So I don't know. I'm so confused. I haven't finished the scene yet, so I don't know how it's gonna continue. But we are on page 220 when Tell and Sage are in the same scene again. They're not even alone. They're in a hallway crowded with men. What? And her reaction to seeing him, not technically seeing him because I think she heard him first, but her reaction to him was fear. Her reaction to Gav was like safe. Okay, literally, I will lose my fucking mind if she doesn't end up with Gab, because all the hints are going to that, which I think what it's gonna happen is Gab is gonna end up being like her good friend throughout the series, like, but she's gonna fall for Tell. But yeah, I wouldn't assume that. It's like they're in a relationship, and it's like her feelings are growing for him, even though nothing has been mentioned to like make you think that. Like, she hasn't had any like romantic thoughts about him other than like, oh, you're beautiful. Not really a romantic thought. She just feels safer around him, but you can feel safer around a brother and stuff. So I'm not gonna like take that as she has feelings for him. But if I were reading this with nothing else, no prior knowledge of books, I would have assumed he was the love interest. But yeah, my point of this clip was it's page 220. I'm gonna go and find when the last time they were together. But we're on page 220 when they finally have a scene next to each other again, even though they're not alone. And her instincts scream fear. It's not looking good. This video is gonna be a rant of the literal same stuff because I literally cannot. Okay, first of all, this chapter, well, the end of this chapter, one of the guards is part of the rebellion. Like, he twists the ring that has like the rebellion symbol on it to like let her know it's time. First of all, I figured one of the guards would be part of the rebellion, but also this is real exciting. There's 105-ish pages left of the book, so we're on the last 100 pages. But when I tell you there is no romance in this book, because Gab, I genuinely feel like Gab is just a friend to her. And so she was just with Tell. He was just walking into the room, and so he like had his arm around her to help her up the stairs. And they got to the top of this. Like, I understand all the reasoning for it because she's traumatized. But I'm just saying, they got up to the stairs, and she beat him down, and she put a knife to his neck, like, don't fucking touch me. And that's literally counterproductive to what we need. The only people she trusts are Gab and the king. Probably not the king anymore, but like Gab and the king. I don't know. Maybe it's like because it's a fantasy romance series, and the series is like 6 books. I'm sure there are more characters later on, but like, series is 6 books, so the romance might start in like book 2 or 3. But I'm not gonna keep reading these dumbass men and this fake ass marketing to figure that out, which is a shame because the story's really good. Sage just escaped, and we're literally about to get to the part where they tell where Tell finds out. I'm so excited, you don't even understand. For fantasy, this is really well done. I think if you're not looking for like any romance, this is a good book. But I'm like romance centered, so like that's my big problem with this. But oh my gosh, I'm so excited for him to find out. He's gonna lose his shit. And he was just saying he's gonna go apologize to her. He not doing that. I'm so excited. How did I fucking know? Technically, I don't know yet. Hold on, I didn't finish reading it. I still haven't finished it, but I know I'm right. That, what's his name? Serge, the man that assaulted her, joined the rebellion. And he's there right now as she came in. I fucking called that shit. I knew he was gonna go to the rebellion. I should have said it here. But I figured he was gonna be somehow involved in the rebellion, and she would see him, like, with the group. Did I fucking not call it? In my head, you wouldn't know because I never voiced it. But in my head, I called it. It took a while to get here, let me tell you. But he took her hand and led her up the stairs. This isn't written in there, but in my mind, I was like, and let the games begin. Because what is gonna happen? I'm excited for the the ending of this has like upped it, because it was dropping to a 2 stars. It's upped it back to a 3 stars, and I think that's where we're gonna keep it, because I'm enjoying the story and it's making me like, now I'm confused. I'm like, oh, now I want to read book 2, because technically, I mean, I have like 20 pages left. I have almost 40 pages left, and it's like 3:30. What time is it? Exactly 3:30. So I should go to sleep, but I'm not going to. And I'm a slow ass reader, so who knows what time I'll finish this. But yeah, I don't know how this is gonna end, so I don't know if I'll want to read book 2. But from the way it's going, I feel like I'm gonna want to read book 2. But like, with all the frustrations this one has given me, like, why would I want to do that to myself? We'll see. But let the games begin. He said I commissioned the sword. I've been wondering how it was gonna come together. Oh my god. Oh, I'm so excited. There's literally 5 pages left. And then I can go to sleep. But I'm excited. Okay, so I just finished editing the video together and figured a little wrap up was due. I literally took notes on my laptop because I was like, I'm gonna forget to say absolutely every part of this. So we're gonna get started. I do want to start it by saying I usually go into a book like expecting to like it, not love it. I usually go in expecting it like a 4-star, and then depending on where it hits my expectations, it either goes under or over, or it hits a 4-star. And 4-star pretty much for me just means it met my expectations, which like means if I give something 4 stars, it could be a 2-star book, but because I wasn't expecting it to be great, it got a higher rating, you know. But going into it with that, I'm like one of those professors that tell you, you know, you don't start at 100 and we dock points. You start at 0 and we try to give you points. I'm like that when I go into a book. I try to look for the positives, but not all books have positives. So let's get started. Okay, so I just had to take a moment to look at Goodreads because I was trying to find this person's review. Their name is Minnie Mouse on Goodreads. Basically, they wrote a really good review of the story in general, and they said a couple things that I wanted to point out. It's like the #1 review, I think, up there is 1.5 stars, really easy to find. But one thing she notes is she says the world building is really lackluster. It's just not there. There's no like explanation for the world. There's no explanation for the characters' backgrounds or anything. And I 100% agree. I said in the video that like I'm really enjoying this fantasy part of it. That hasn't changed. Like, I enjoyed the story a lot, and I think had like certain aspects of it been a little different, like the romance, I would have really enjoyed it. But I do agree with her. There was no, you know, like background on the world. There was no background on any of the characters. You didn't really learn a lot about them, which I think made it a lot harder for you to care about anything that happened to them. So there's that. Like, I didn't necessarily care for any of the characters by the end of it. So that's kind of a big problem. Another thing they mentioned was that the romance may be with like all of the men. So I was like, oh, maybe it's a harem style, like a reverse harem. But I do know at the very last book she ends up with Tell. So let me just tell you, my #1 hated trope is love triangles. So I'm absolutely not, and for sure not reading book 2. I'm not going to continue on with this. The romance is a huge factor for me, and there was none of it. So we're just going to move on. Oh my god. They spent so many like scenes talking about the Midsummer Festival. Like little things here and there of him preparing for it. And that's the final scene, is the Midsummer Festival. Well, it's not the final scene. It's the like second to final scene, the Midsummer Festival. But it's so anticlimactic. Like, you get no part of the festival. It just says we're on the final day of the festival, and you're just like, okay, we don't know what the hell happened with the first week of the festival. And then when you're at the festival, I didn't understand any part of the festival. I didn't understand why her clothing was you know, showing a lot and how that's modest for where they're going. I understand why all the men were shirtless. There was no point to that. Like, no reason was given to what the festival really was, or what that day of the festival was, for everyone to be basically half naked. I was just so confused, and it was like we spent a lot of time leading to that festival to not really talk about the festival. Okay, and then my final thing with Serge, because we all hate him. I said in one of the clips that I knew he was going to join the rebellion. He didn't join the rebellion. He was already part of the rebellion, and they sent him to torture Sage. And then when they found out what they actually did, they were mad, but they still defended him. They were like, no, don't kill him, and all that stuff. I was like, oh, what? And so like Sage ends up rebelling against the rebellion, basically. Betraying. That's the word I'm looking for. I was like, what is the word? Sage ends up betraying the rebellion by like telling Tell that, you know, she's sent to kill the king, so let's protect the king. But that was it. She still kissed Rafe goodbye and all that stuff, and I was like, what? No, you could have betrayed them so much harder. It just, oh my god. Parts that I did like about the book, the story. I did like the story, the different aspects of it and all that stuff, but I don't think it was thought out well enough. So yeah, and I'm always gonna be salty about that marketing of fantasy romance with no fucking romance in the book. But that's it.